Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of Love is Blind Season 7 recap. This is part 2 for the season, the second batch of episodes, and I am joined again by the lovely Nana. Hi, Nana. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I don't know. Love is Blind is tripping me the fuck out. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to start cursing, but y'all know I have a potty mouth. But it's tripping me out because a lot is happening, and yet some people are saying it's boring and nothing is happening, and I'm confused.
Do you know what? That's actually. I thought about this while I was watching it, and I think I understand where people are coming from. I feel like there's been a lot of drama, so technically I should be more invested than I am, and I
Hmm.
couldn't put my finger on the disconnect. And I genuinely think it's just the people. I don't find the people that what's the word? I'm not engaging. Maybe it is engaging. I feel like there's drama
Charismatic.
happen. Yes, and there's drama happening, but I'm not that. I don't care about them that much. So for me, that's where the disconnect is. So I kind of understand why people are saying it's boring. I wouldn't say it's flat out boring, but I do think there's a little bit of a disconnect this season for me. I don't know if you feel the
Um,
same way.
um, I think what I would say is I think the people are not necessarily likable.
Mhm.
Like where we could see Brett and Tiffany and we're like, oh my God, they're so cute and stuff. We don't have that. And the closest to that has been shattered completely for us, and we're gonna get
Yes.
into that. So it's kind of tough because again, all these shows, we need a balance of the drama and the romance. And this doesn't have this. There's no balance on that, and the people are not likable. And then add a sprinkle of what you just said. They're not exactly the most charismatic people. So that's what it is. But I am entertained.
Yes. It's
So
definitely entertaining, especially these last batch. So
yeah, so they are. So we'll just get into it. Um, we start this batch with a round robin of everyone except Tim and Alex, who, if you remember, we ended on a bad note with them. So I didn't know if that meant anything. Spoiler alert, it didn't mean anything. We still saw them and they're fine. um, Alex tells us that he didn't know how upset he was till, he mentioned it and said, what was bothering him. Um, I'm sorry, she said that she didn't know how upset Tim was till he mentioned it. And Tim was like, he was ready to go home, but he loves her and he's willing to keep exploring because she was able to see where he was coming from. And then they start going for adventures and all the different couples and different things. And guys, please don't laugh at me and you too, Nana, but I think I was a little thrown at seeing camels in Mexico.
huh.
I
You know
just
what? That's not something I've ever thought about. That's crazy. I've only ever think of camels either in Africa or the Middle East.
Yes.
You're
So when I
right.
saw them in Mexico, I was like, oh my God, am I being ignorant? Like, wait, is this possible? Like, what?
Wait,
So
are they indigenous to Mexico? Were they just like brought over there
I
for
have
like as an
no idea.
attraction?
I was just
Now
focused
I'm
on the
really
fact.
concerned now. Now I have to know the answer to this. So please keep talking as I type in are camels indigenous to Mexico? But sorry. Yeah, so I'm not yeah, I understand the confusion. I am not laughing at you.
Okay. So anyone out there laughing at me, it's okay. I just was thrown. I don't think it's impossible. I just never thought about it. So when I saw it, I was just, yeah, thrown off at that. Did you
Okay,
find out?
yes. Well, they're indigenous to North America, apparently.
North America?
Yes. So now
Oh.
let's see. Mexico counts as not. Where does Central America start? I think no. I do think they still count it because I think Central America starts from like Belize and co.
I mean, they are part of NATO.
Yeah. No, I
So
think they are technically classed as North America. Yeah, apparently camels once roamed North America. And there's a
hmm.
species of them that are indigenous to North America. Interesting. See, the more you know. If you hadn't asked, I would never have known that. Okay.
um, Then we move on to Tyler and Ashley, and it's so weird watching them talk about how many kids they want because it's so weird watching them talk about kids, knowing what we know now about Tyler. And guys, if you're chronically online like we are, you know what we're talking about. If you're not, then just hold on till the very end and we'll let you know all the whole drama surrounding Tyler and his kids. Um, Nick and Hannah go on some bungee jumping thing, and Nana almost had a heart attack when Nick jumped out. I'm scared of heights. I am scared of heights, and when they both jumped, I was just like, I could never. No.
Me neither. I know we haven't talked about it yet, but the bit that freaked me out the most, the activity, was Alex and Tim's. Like, you'd have had to bury me. I'm sorry. You want me to drive across a height, and I don't like bridges. That's another thing, by the way. I always like kind of hold my breath when I'm on a bridge. I was like, quickly get to the other side. That is like all my nightmares combined into one. Rickety bridge, heights, and it was narrow as well. Mm-mm.
So, Monica and Steven are having a conversation, and their conversations are tedious because it always feels like Monica is scolding Steven in some way. So, she's bringing up her love languages and that he promised her flowers in the pods and that he didn't give her flowers. And she says, like, her love languages, but the thing is, her love languages, they're five, right? She lists all of them except two. She's like, this is my love language. This also is my love language. The next one is also my love language. And I'm like, okay. And Steven is like, gifts has always been my last. And in fact, the last time my family has been able to provide gifts for everyone, it's been a while. And actually, I have not received a gift in a while. And I'm like, these two are so mismatched.
Like awful. And also, I feel like people also use the whole love language concept wrong. And it irritates me because I'm just like, that's how. Okay, fair enough. My issue with Monica is she clearly doesn't respect Stephen, and it
Yeah,
bleeds across into every interaction. And I
yeah,
don't like Stephen. I don't like them together. But there's some part of me that every time I hear Monica talk to him, I'm like, you have issues you have to work out. Because
yes,
you only picked this man and agreed to marry him out of desperation. You
yes,
cannot convince me otherwise. You think you're getting quote unquote old, this is your last chance, blah blah blah. But you don't respect him and you punish him for it in every way. And I really hate it when people make me feel sorry for people I don't really like. So it made me resentful towards her as well. But yeah, I
yeah,
didn't like how she was talking to him. I, I was just like, how do you think this is going to work? Obviously, they're all material things, but it indicates something deeper. The whole purse conversation was cracking me up because you have a man who thinks like the height of luxury bags to him is Kate Spade, and the look on her face, I'm just like, this is why it's not going to work because these things are important to her. You can tell.
yeah.
So yeah,
They're
losing game
not
from the beginning.
Yeah, they're not in the same socioeconomic class, and she keeps bringing up he has a 2 year college, and that's fine. But who are you trying to convince, us or
Hmm.
yourself? She does tell him that she refuses to let their financial upbringing be the thing that puts space between them. I'm like, okay. And
How do you
then,
refuse that? That's one of the top things people divorce about. What do you mean?
like, it's a pretty important thing, and it seems
Yeah.
like it's really important to you. Um, He says that he doesn't have to get her top quality purses like a Kate Spade bag, and she's like, "Don't ever get me that." And I think that's what Nana means by the way that she talks. And I don't think she can help it, and I don't even know if she's
No.
aware of it because she could easily have been like, "Oh, that's cute," but I actually like something nicer or laugh about it or something. She's just like, "Don't ever get me that." And then
Yeah.
she's like, "Maybe a YSL or Louis Vuitton," and he's like, "What's that? Is that a big deal? I have no idea what that is." And then she laughs, and even the fact that he doesn't know what it is, you are mismatched. That's just, it's
Thank
not
you.
even being materialistic. It's just, listen, you're gonna have a lifetime of teaching him or telling him, and you're already annoyed. And again, I will never forget that she told us that she gets the ick.
Yeah.
So,
And also, sorry, Monica is materialistic because to me, that was my biggest indicator. I love a good purse, and I have
Mhm.
a wide gamut of purse size
Mhm.
price ranges. And the fact that she immediately said no to Kate Spade but yes to YSL, I'm like, you don't even know what the Kate Spade, this hypothetical Kate Spade purse looks like. Because Kate Spade isn't my preferred brand, but they have some fire purses that I would happily wear because I like the design. Just like I have some way more expensive purses than Kate Spade. But that means you literally only like the purse because it's YSL, not because you like it. So immediately I'm like, this just tells me the kind of person you are. No offense. You only want him to buy you a designer purse because it's expensive, not because you actually like it. Which,
Yep.
yeah, so that is to me the very definition of superficial. So
Which
I
is
don't
funny
know.
because she says, I don't want to sound materialistic, but I want to feel
Yes.
special. But if that was true, knowing what he can afford, wouldn't it be the thought that counts scenario? Like the fact
Yes.
that he even thought, oh, Kate Spade, this is what
Hmm.
is the top of the top for him. And he thought of you like, I'm going to get what I think is the top of the top for
Yep.
my woman. If you really are just about feeling special, why is that not enough?
Yes.
You knew what he did. You knew how much he made. You said you were fine and you loved him. Now you're trying to turn him and trying to build a man. Big mistake.
Yes.
Huge.
And
So,
honestly, sorry, I keep going off on tangents. You say gift giving is your love language. Why do people automatically in their head think it has to be an expensive gift? Do you know? And Stephen also always looks mildly terrified of Monica every time she starts talking. So
hmm
yeah, that whole conversation I didn't love. Can't lie.
yep. And, while she's talking, the look on Steven's face is one of realizing that, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to keep up. Because, guys, remember, this conversation started from flowers. Somehow we
Yeah.
ended up in YSL. So,
Mhm.
um, he tells her, like, I don't want to disappoint you and it will be unfair for you not to get what you want. And then he says he's having second thoughts. And she's like, what the fuck? And then in the same breath, he goes, no, I'm not saying that I'm afraid. Like, okay, Steven does go around in circles. I think she's right about that. But again, it's part of like your person is not going to be 100%. You got to take the good and
Yeah.
the bad. But
Mhm.
she doesn't seem to want any bads. But she was just like, what do you mean? What are you saying? He's like, I'm not afraid to marry you, but I'm nervous, which I think makes sense.
Mhm.
Because again, this process is so fast, and you're laying it on him about flowers, and he's realizing, listen, Kate Spade is all I got, and even that we're not sure.
And also the whole Stephen go around in circles. I think it's because he's scared of her. I'm
Yes.
being very honest with you. Like I don't think I've ever really seen Stephen be authentic at all, even
hmm
from in the pods. I feel like even how he answered questions and spoke to Monica, he gave me the vibe of a man who tells you the answers you want to hear or the answers he thinks sound good. And then when you press him further to actually back it up, he starts scrambling, which is what I see every time I see him speak to Monica.
Yeah.
Like he's told her all these things that aren't really him. He's told her all these things because they sound good. And
Yeah.
then when she asked more about it, he's like, I don't. Yeah, that's the vibe I got.
Yep. I agree. We already mentioned Tim and Alex. They go on their ATV, go on the bridge, but they make up. And Alex asked him if he's gonna come back to the hotel, and he said yes, he will come back to the hotel. Then we see, I think it was Monica with Taylor, and she's telling Taylor, like, honestly, I think that Steven is scared of me. And I'm like, you're not wrong, but it's so cringe to watch a grown man be scared of someone he says he's in love with because you're starting off on the wrong foot. And the fact that you know that he's scared of you and you're saying it so casually, that is not a good thing. I think I was going to ask you, like, what is the difference between her giving him a hard time and her being clear about what she wants?
Do you know? I feel like these are some of these intangible things, right? Because I could just say to me personally, I feel like it's her tone and the way she speaks to him. It has like a lecturing. vibe that I don't really like. Like, I know better, I'm going to teach you how to do things, which rubs me the wrong way. I do think she's very clear in her communication, but ultimately, why I feel like the vibe doesn't work for me is I just think that they're both not being true to themselves. They're not being authentic. So the whole like you said, like what's the difference with him being scared of her and all of that? I just think because they're both lying to themselves and they know it deep down.
Yeah. I don't know, especially if I think I only thought about it because, especially if he made her all these big promises in the pod,
Hmm.
I don't think it's necessarily wrong to expect that you follow up on that. I think
Yeah.
I saw someone either tweet or say something say is is we know that
Life doesn't happen bi weekly, so why should payday? The money you earn can be in your hands today with EarnIn. EarnIn is an app that gives you access to your pay as you work, up to $100 per day or up to $750 per pay period. Just download the EarnIn app and verify your paycheck, then access up to $100 a day as you work and leave an optional tip. Any money you access plus tips are automatically repaid from your next paycheck. Whether it's a special gift for a loved one or needing help early with rent this month, make EarnIn a part of your financial routine and join EarnIn's over 3.5 million customers who say things like, when I think about EarnIn, I think about financial stability and security. It gives me a lot of peace of mind. Download EarnIn today, spelled EARNIN, in the Google Play or Apple App Store. When you download the EarnIn app, type in Altar Call under podcast. When you sign up, it'll really help the show. That's Altar Call under podcast. Subject to your available earnings, location, daily max, and pay period max. See earnin.com/TOS for details. Earnin is a financial technology company, not a bank. Bank products are issued by Evolve Bank and Trust, member FDIC. If you're looking to try something new to achieve your weight loss goals, try Mochi Health. Mochi Health takes a holistic approach to weight loss that includes visits with board certified doctors, nutrition consultations, and medication delivered to your door. With Mochi, their dietitians work hand in hand with your medication to create personalized nutrition plans that fit your lifestyle. Reach your weight loss goals with science backed FDA approved GLP-1 medications, support from real doctors, and guidance from registered dietitians that help with making easy and sustainable changes to achieve results. You can get started at joinmochi.com. That's JOINMOCHI.com. And be sure to use the code ALTACALLMAFS, ALTARCALLMAFS, to receive $40 off. Amoir makes getting dressed easy. With a clothing rental membership from Amoir, build the perfect wardrobe with brands that are high quality, unique, and recommended just for you. All you have to do is take a 5-minute style quiz and select items from your dynamic, personalized closet. The styles show up at your door in as little as 2 days. Then, when you're ready for new clothes, just swap them out for more new to you styles. I had a birthday party, and it was so nice to have a dress from Amoir, and I didn't have to think about buying something new for the party.
Isn't it great that Armoire is also women founded and women led? They even spotlight women owned designers on their website, so you'll know that you're wearing brands that are aligned with your values. Right now, our listeners can give Armoire a try and get up to 50% off their first month. That's up to $125 off. Just visit armoire.style slash altercallmaths. That's armoire, ARMOIRE dot style slash ALTARCALLMAFS to get 50% off your first month and never worry about what to wear again. Try on more today.
love is not blind, but there's something to be said. What we realize is that you have to follow up your actions with your words. Is
Yes.
can people back up the words that they have in the pods with their actions? Because these people say all the right things, and when they come out, they're not able to back it up. That's
Yes.
truly what the question should be.
Because really and truly, I know it sounds like I'm being hard on Monica. I would be annoyed too if I told you in the pods, oh my gosh, I love flowers, I love flowers. And we've just met for the first time, we're planning a wedding, but we're still dating. And you don't get me flowers. I would think that was a bit like, were you just saying it just to go along, or did you actually mean it? Because I'm sure Stephen in the pods like, yeah, sure, I love to do all of that. And then you don't do any of that now that we're in real life. I'd be pissed off too, but I just feel like sometimes her communication does come across a bit of like, I know better, you must listen to me, that I don't like. But her sentiments aren't wrong, I don't think. I just think they're
Yeah.
both lying to themselves.
Well, because we have that occasion, I think, when they were all sitting and he was going round and round talking about the spotlight and
Mm,
sucking dick because they're in the spotlight, knowing what you're here for. And she
yeah.
audibly sighed and kept saying, "What is happening?" Like, yeah,
Can
maybe
you
that's
explain
true,
that
but
conversation to me? Because I had no idea what was going on there.
he was basically talking about they're all in the spotlight. At some point when this all comes out, they're all going to be in the spotlight, and then they're going to be women who don't care whatever your situation is. They still want to still suck your
Um,
dick, is what he said. But I guess like go
yeah,
out.
because I
So
heard him say that, and I was like, "What the hell is going on?" But I was completely lost about the entire conversation. Okay, that makes
yeah,
sense now.
and he was saying like you have to know why you're here and be grounded so you don't fall into temptation. And then Taylor was like, "What?" But then Monica was like sighing and like all that and just, "I'm gonna leave now," all that stuff. But also it
Yeah,
was like it's easy to be like, "Oh, Monica, that's kind of disrespectful, like back your man up." But also what he was saying was kind of outlandish. Like, what are
crazy.
you even saying?
And also,
So
on a more cynical note, that is the clearest sign to me that he's on the show for clout.
yeah.
He knows that he's probably not going to get married, and he's can't wait to like answer all the DMs he'll get after the show. Like it's very obvious because why is that on your mind if you're planning on marrying somebody for the rest of your life? Why would you even think about women in your DMs offering to suck your dick in a hypothetical future? Why are you even thinking about that?
This is my assessment of Steven. Steven is a man who does not think he's good enough. In general, not Monica related or anything. He just feels like he's not fulfilling his full potential and is kind of insecure and is doing the thing that most people do now. If I just get an audience, if I just get people
Hmm.
to like me and to get that, that will give me some kind of validation. That might cure the my career path where maybe I could get some money in there and then people will like me, getting women will be easier. And he just thought like Love is Blind would be there. And I think for a lot of these people, because people always say they come in here for clout and all that, I think yes, that's true. But I think their mindset is it's an experience. I'm just gonna do it. I am open to falling in love. And if I do find someone I click with, that's the icing on the cake. But if
Mm,
I don't, it's not the end of the world. But for most of the women, to them, it's the end of the world because then I've
yeah.
completely failed in finding a partner. But the men see it as a win win. If I don't get someone, people are still going to be in my DMs. At the very best, I get
Mhm.
an endorsement or I'll make it to another Netflix show, specifically Perfect Match, because if you're a villain or if you're a douche, it doesn't stop you from getting cast on there. So I think that's where the dissonance is. But
Yeah, and it was very obvious.
yeah.
So mm,
Well, the honeymoon is over and everyone is back to DC. It's very exciting when it's in your city because you're just looking around to where do I recognize? What restaurants are this? Have I been here? Ooh, do I need to go here? And all that. So they are back in town and they are staying at the Rixie, which is actually in Arlington, Virginia. Again, I know it's billed as DC, but most of the time, even with Married at First Sight, I think where they stayed was also in Virginia, which is funny. I don't know why they always pick Virginia to stay, but yeah. So they get their phones, they're back in hand. Everyone's talking about Instagram, text messages, and they're getting into their groove. And we get to see Hannah, and everything bothers Hannah.
mhm.
I don't, I, I don't. In some ways, I understand her because I identify with her hyper independence and being an adult, but it's on the next level. Like she talks in lists. Everything is a thing on the list that has to be checked off.
Yes,
And she doesn't let things be. Which is
I
funny because she's
I
the
don't like her.
youngest.
Yeah, I don't like Hannah. I'm so sorry. I think she's not a nice person, like Nick aside. And I don't understand why she is the way she is.
I guess I don't know. Even her parents don't know. But I
Yeah.
just, you
Her
know what?
parents are very good looking people, by the way, as an
They look
aside.
young.
Very. But Hannah's young. She's
Yeah, that's true.
26.
This is young because her brother is
Yeah.
like a baby too.
Yeah.
But because I mean, what threw me up for a loop with Hannah was I'm confused. You've had a dog, you've had the dog all by yourself. They're talking about chores, and she's like, "I know it's my dog, but you have to help." I'm like, I mean, yeah, but maybe when we be married, at least at this
Hmm.
point, we don't know if we're getting married. So why are you acting like you don't know how to take care of your dog anymore? Like it was
I'm with you.
just
There was no
very weird.
easing in of anything. It's like, this is where I was going to be, this here, this. And I'm just like, girl, slow your roll. And I think with the two of them, for me, it came across as more jarring because they don't seem to have developed any kind of real romantic attachment yet.
Hmm.
And then to go from that into that, again, another couple, I'm just like, you're doomed. Give up the ghost. Why are you not doing this? No.
um, if the conversation about the purse was not enough for us to know that Steven and Monica are mismatched, the way Steven was so taken by the apartment, I was like, I was happy for him. Like, okay, he gets to experience this nice, um, modern, luxurious apartment. But the number of times he kept saying, "Oh my God, this is so nice. This is so nice," and this is probably just a regular apartment to Monica. And
Yeah.
I will give her props because she didn't say any of her condescending things. Did she? If she did,
No,
it did.
actually, you know what? I think I was looking for it and she was actually perfectly fine. Because I think she understands that they come from different backgrounds. So she
Yeah,
wasn't being a bitch. Yeah.
yeah. And honestly, Taylor and Garrett were just so cute. They were like my golden couple
I love it.
this batch because they just seemed so natural and so regular. And then she was just saying like it was good that they went at their own pace. And he's just so smitten by her. Like, and he's not exuberant. He's not under exuberant. He's just right. And they
Mm.
just match each other. So it was very cute. It was very,
Yeah, I
very
love
cute.
Taylor. Garrett, I'm not that I'm cool on him. I just don't have any strong feelings about him, to be honest. But I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of Taylor. Even though, so I'm someone that if I see a stack of books, I'm going to pause and read the spies. I was just like, oh, Taylor, you're one of those that only read self help books. Please get some fiction in your life. So that's my only mark against Taylor.
So they meet Garrett's parents, and she comes in with gifts, but I thought it was so sweet that they also gave her something.
Yeah.
Um, and then they drop it casually that Taylor's parents do not want to participate in this. But based on the previews, I think it's just her dad. Because I think, well, I don't know if it's her mom. It could be her aunt. I don't know who we see next week, but we saw someone.
I think it's just her dad. I think she mentioned a few times, like her dad specifically. Because she's like,
Okay.
my parents aren't the fan, but my dad specifically, that's a hard no for him.
This got me asking, like, parents that don't want to participate, should that be a determining factor? Because I just think it plays.
No!
Uh,
So
okay,
I
okay,
support it, by the way. I fully support her parents saying they don't want to be on it. Because
oh,
why should I have to allow cameras in my house and in my face? You signed up for it, not me.
okay. If they're able to see the parents, but no cameras, that's fine. But I
Hmm.
think I'm thinking, like, maybe in my brain, I'm like, if they're not on camera, like, I don't know if they're even seeing them at all. Because I know we
Oh, okay, that's
had
what you mean.
Yeah, I know we had someone on Married at First Sight, and his mom or dad was not part of it at all. And he was just kind of torn up about it. And for me, I think it's kind of like if they do get married, so you're gonna miss out on your kids. I don't know. So that's where
That
I'm
okay. I
half and
think we're talking
half.
about two different things. That I'm with you. I do think it's weird you not meeting them at all, but I think it's perfectly fine for them not to want to be on camera.
Yeah, I think so, but I'm just like, I think it takes away from the story. It takes away from the other, like, I think, was it? Yeah, Ollie and in the
Yeah.
UK
Mhm.
where she didn't get to meet his parents.
Yeah. No,
And
apparently she did. It just wasn't on camera.
It wasn't on camera. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I
So
feel
that's
like
the
I
thing. I
remember reading that in an interview
okay.
that she did meet his parents, but it just wasn't on camera. But it was the same with Kwame and Chelsea, right? Kwame's
Um.
wasn't it only his sister
Yes.
that was on
Yes.
camera? Yeah.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
honestly
So
don't think there's anything wrong with that. I do think I wouldn't marry someone if I knew your parents were alive and they were in your life and not meet them before. Because that's gonna be my family. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
That I think
Yeah.
is different. But recording, I don't actually don't think there's anything wrong with not wanting to be on camera.
Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
Um. Garrett tells his parents that he's smitten, and his mom gets very emotional, and I understand it. I guess that the hardest part for these parents is how fast that it goes. But what are you gonna do? Especially when you think about the fact that even when you date for years, it's not guaranteed. So that's where I can never relate with what they're saying. And I get it when things like the scandals come out and all that stuff. And I'm like, yes, I understand the fear, but if that was guaranteed if you dated for years, I would understand. But the fact
Hmm.
that even when you date for years, it still happens, yeah, you might as well just take the risk. Your job is to just support
Yeah.
your kid, you know?
Hmm.
So, yeah, so when she says that and she's like, it's going too fast, I don't know this, I truly love that Taylor said, honestly, I have no answers for you besides the fact that I love your son. And I'm like,
Yeah.
honestly, there's nothing else to say. That is the truth.
Because it's correct. I think that's why I like Taylor so much, obviously. And Garrett, like, I don't dislike him or anything. I think they're both very pragmatic. Like, they
Yeah.
know this is a weird thing. They're not
Yeah.
trying to convince anybody that you should be on board with this too. They fully understand how it looks and they both know it's a risk they're taking. And they
Yeah.
seem to ask each other like real questions and they understand that everyone may not feel the same way as they do. And
Yeah.
that's how everyone should act, I think. Yeah, so I'm 100% with her.
Yeah. I think what I also don't understand is if you've told your parents you're going through this process, this is
Hmm.
season 7, we know what it's about, we know all that. So by the time they bring someone home, I just think it's like putting a band-aid over a gushing wound. Like you saying it's so fast, I'm scared. It's pointless. And
Yeah,
it
because
doesn't
it's
help
done.
because you've been knowing. So what are we doing all this for? So
Yeah.
that's where I'm always like meh about it. All right. Marissa and Ramses, we talked about it them the last time, saying they were being all surface level. We were not getting into the nitty gritty, and boy, did they get into the nitty gritty this batch. So Ramses is cooking, and then Marissa comes in, and she kept saying, "Oh my God, it was 2 hour traffic, 2 hour traffic." I'm like, where the hell is she coming from? When she said Baltimore, my eyes widened and dropped to the floor because Baltimore? I'm trying to say Baltimore. But Baltimore to Virginia? Oh, I could never, ever. That is a journey. In fact, how is it even 2 hours? That is too little, in my opinion. And I'm just like, you know what? It's temporary, I guess, but that I hate commuting, so that is torture to me. He made pasta and tried to convince her because she said it was really hard. And she, was it she or he said that it was alla dente? Or he said it? I
He
can't
said it was
remember.
al
He
dente.
said it was al
And I
dente.
think he was trying to be nice and be like, is that how it's pronounced?
Yep.
He knew damn well it's al dente, but he was trying to give her a chance. And she
She
doubled
goes,
down.
yep. She goes, yep, it's al dente. I was like, you know what? Blind leading the blind. Let's go. Just have your good time on
It's
that.
so funny because you can see it on his face when he just decided, to, you know what, I'm going to just let her have
This is not a battle I want to fight.
it.
They start talking about religion and the wedding, and she's like, I don't want a man to marry us. I don't want religion into this. And we find out that Ramses' mom is
Mhm.
religious, and she would like some kind of thing in it, which I had a problem with. Not a huge problem, but I don't like it when people take or know that they want to take their parents' opinions in consideration, which is fine, which is okay. Then don't go find someone who is like so
Mm.
anti-religion if you know that's going to bother your mom and you want to keep the peace with your mom, because why set yourself up for failure?
Mhm.
if you really don't care, then okay, then stand up to it and say, well, my wife doesn't want religion and we're not going to. But if you're like, oh, you're not even saying, I would like some kind of religion incorporated, because you're like, I feel like my mom would have that, to me is a kind of like a red flag.
You know, I know we haven't spoken about the entire conversation, but I saw somebody say this on Twitter. I can't remember who, so I apologize. And for me, I feel like it hit the nail on the head. They said Ramses is downplaying how much religion is still important to him. Yes, he's not as super involved as he used to be because he's took a step back, but he still clearly has some ties. Just as Marissa is downplaying how much the whole military thing is important to her. So again, another set of people lying to each other. I think.
Well, which in itself is still a problem, because if you're saying
Mhm.
say it with your chest and
Mhm.
don't use your mom as the excuse
As
on
the
that.
cover, yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, were you surprised when we found out that Marissa was Mormon? Because I wasn't.
Me, I'm trying to be very nice, but no, I wasn't surprised.
It just kind of made sense
Not at all.
that she was, and I was like, ah, okay.
Yeah.
And she says like because he asked her, why did you take a step back, from religion? And she was just like, I'm just uncomfortable with the white beliefs and stuff. And I'm like, well, yeah, I don't think it's so welcoming to black people, but I don't know,
It'll
maybe things
never
have
spin
changed.
me meeting black Mormons. Sorry to anyone who's listening who is a black Mormon. Maybe you can make me understand. But no. Sorry. That's the one thing I'll just say. It will never make sense to me. Ever.
Yeah.
I've met a couple though.
They talk about movies. I don't know how it came up, but they were talking about movies. I'm mentioning this because Ramses mentions Past Lives, which, unpopular opinion, I thought was overrated. I was looking forward to watching that movie so bad, and when I watched it, but it could be the fact that I'm not necessarily into romantic movies or books or anything. That could be it, but it was a letdown for me. So I just wanted to say that's why I brought it up. That I just thought it was overrated.
She's like, I'm just gonna get in one dagger at past lives one more time.
I also feel that way about everything everywhere all at once. Don't come for me, guys. Just feel that way.
Whatever, man. Get into it.
I watched it twice. Fell asleep once. Um, then they start talking about the military. And this was like, I'm just gonna summarize this. She was in the military. She doesn't regret being in the military, but clearly she still has PTSD from some of the things that, she had to do in the military. Like, if they tell you, she said, if they tell you to push a button and it's gonna cause harm to other people, like she's conflicted on that. It doesn't go with where she stands. And Ramses is just like giving her, he's trying to be understanding, but his judgment is leaking, and you can see that he's just like, yep, the military is not for me, which is very confusing because if you give Marissa an opportunity, she's going to tell you she was in the military every 5 seconds. So why is this now a problem for Ramses? Because you've known that this is a huge part of her life.
Okay, so I don't think Ramses necessarily did anything wrong because
Okay.
I feel like yes, he obviously knew Marissa used to be in the military, but I think it's the difference in hearing someone talk about, oh, I'm no longer part of that. Yes, it was part of my life growing up, but like I'm not part of that. Like I'm now like being a lawyer, blah blah blah, and then seeing it in everyday life, seeing her face as she talks about the military. I didn't believe Marissa for 1 second. That woman loves the military down. You know what I mean? I'm sure if she got a great job and could go back today, she probably would. Yes, there are aspects she doesn't like, but she's military born and bred. It's like everything. All her friends are military people. She's indoctrinated. There's no way she's going to extricate herself. And for me, I feel like Ramses was slowly realizing that. So that's why he was kind of pressing to see how deeply ingrained it was still. Because she's saying that yes, I'm no longer in that, and yes, because she remember they were going back and forth about, yeah, I'm still proud to say I was in the military, even though I'm not in it anymore. And he was like, but how can you be proud to say you're in the military if you know like what they've done?
Hmm.
some very unsavory things. Like there's a dissonance there, and I think he was pressing her about it because he was realizing she's chatting shit. I'm sorry. So I don't know. To me, I didn't see that as a red flag. My red flag is that again, you two are clearly mismatched about things that are very important to both of you. You're never going to be on the same page.
So I saw it differently.
Hmm.
I think that yes, she is proud loosely to have been in the military. I do think like it's a huge part of her life. It made her who she is. A lot of her friends are there and all that kind of good stuff. I do think that she is conflicted with the stuff, but she cannot publicly or completely denounce the military because that would mean denouncing a lot of her life. And then it
Hmm.
becomes the question of who am I?
Yeah.
So she's like in a conundrum of what it is. I don't necessarily think that she will go back to the military. I think it's just understanding that there are things that are terrible that comes with the military, but denouncing it would mean that I have to denounce a whole lot of who I am and facing who I am. Now, where I think Ramses was wrong, because I am understanding, I think this is when I realized he was from Venezuela. And if he's seeing it from a different point of view, maybe one of the people who've experienced, being
Hmm.
bearing the brunt of what the US has done to them, I get it. But him insisting and saying that nobody put a gun to your head, told you to sign up, told you to do this, that's the part I don't agree with him. I can understand signing up for the military. Yes, you signed up, voluntarily, nobody forced you, but I also think that it's possible that you don't know what you signed up for. When I came to this country, I took the test, I scored high, they stalked me to join and all that. All I heard was they're going to pay for your college, you're going to go into places or whatever. I had no idea what I was signing up for. So if I had signed up for it, I wouldn't have known. All I know is, and again, I was talking to a friend of mine who's a vet, and he was saying the same thing that when he signed up, he had no idea. Like he was young and he just thought it would be a better life for him coming from, his life and all that. And he just signed up for it. And I don't know why Ramses just couldn't get that point because that's what she was trying to say. And he was like, I'm sorry. Like you knew what it is. And she was struggling to just tell him, like, you honestly don't understand the gravity of what you signed up for.
Do you know what? I see where you're coming from, and that was another point I was going to make. That Ramses wasn't born in the United States, right? He moved here at a young age, I
Yeah.
believe. I think he said that. And
Yeah.
again, it was the same when I moved here. I remember I didn't move like here permanently till I was like older, but my brother was 16 when he moved, and I remember again getting all these calls constantly all the time, like join, 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 join. And I think there's some things about America and American culture that you won't ever fully understand from the outside until you're here. Like I
Yeah.
didn't understand how aggressively they specifically target minorities because they know on the surface it's like, oh, we give you discipline, we pay for everything, you get benefits, blah blah blah. And people who come from like poorer homes and all of that can be easily seduced because what are your
Like
other
Marissa,
options?
which
Yes,
we
what
found
are
out
your other
later. Yeah.
options? Yes.
Mm,
And also for immigrants as well in particular is also a
yeah.
very easy path to citizenship which you don't
Yeah.
have otherwise. So
Hmm.
yeah, I actually fully, so maybe I was being unfair to Marissa and like say she would sign up, but I do think clear my thing with those two, and I think I mentioned it last episode. Um, Ramses is very, very strong on his principles,
Yeah.
very liberal, extremely strong on his principles. And Marissa, clearly from someone who dated a Trump supporter or whatever, she's becoming more liberal. But I feel like her politics are all over the place for me. And every time she's pressed on them, I think she gets flustered and maybe doesn't know how to articulate herself properly. So that's why sometimes I'm just like, you two are just not a good match in my head. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I
Like,
think
yeah.
Marissa is still finding herself. She needs to,
Yes.
and the reason why she can articulate herself is because she's not sure where she stands on
Mm-hmm.
certain things. And, you know, the thing about Ramses is like maybe he knows how to pick his battles because a lot was unsaid by him
Yeah. Yeah.
in this
He does leave a
conversation.
lot. That's why I say I can't hate him because I think he's also trying to give her grace, you know?
Yeah, but
But
it's
it just
also
doesn't
so.
always come across well.
Yeah, and like you said, like, he's very strong on his stance, and I think later in the episode when he's with the friends and he
Hmm.
says, "Your politics say who you are," and I'm like, okay, is he aware that she dated a Trump supporter? Because again,
He
if
is
you're
aware.
aware,
He is aware.
okay, so I don't think he can be coming this hard because this is not news to him. Like, I don't
This
know.
this is exactly what we spoke about last episode when I said, sorry, I will never, ever, ever be kind to a Trump supporter. I don't care. A conservative, sure, you're just a person, whatever.
Yeah,
But to me, like he's, I think he's 100% right. I don't understand why people are, oh, I don't want to talk about politics or we don't. How can you not? Because that, to me, that it does inform who you are, how you feel about things that affect us all. Do you know what I mean? And not just
yeah,
you. That does tell me who you are as a person. And that's why I'm just saying he's so strong in it that why are you bothering here? Because if they do get married, you know, when you can just foresee the problems down the line, you're
yeah,
going to have a problem with her friends. All her friends are military. So when they're having their little military wives party with their military husbands, he's probably going to say, oh, I'm not comfortable hanging around with those people.
yeah,
And there's going to be another. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to like borrow trouble from them, for them,
yeah,
sorry. But sometimes you see a clear path to why this isn't going to work.
yeah,
And well, I think why Ramses doesn't bother me as much in for this part, I do think like super liberal people can also fall into the very lecturing, I think
mm-hmm.
I'm better than you tone. Do you know what
Righteous,
I mean?
self-righteous,
Exactly.
soapbox. Yeah,
And for me, he doesn't quite reach that first yet. Sorry, because
yeah,
I do feel like he does listen and he tries to understand where other people are coming from, even though they
yeah,
don't share his politics. Am I making sense? That's
yeah,
why I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
get a red flag in that aspect.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that she mentioned and said, "I feel judged."
Mm,
Number one, I know everyone talks about like in relationships and stuff. For me, what I appreciate in a partnership is being accepted for who I am, being able
hmm.
to be myself, and being comfortable.
Yeah,
I don't know, even when he doesn't mean to be, I just feel she'll always feel that way.
I'm with you, 100%.
So, like you
I don't
said,
think it's intentional, but the result is still the same, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just gonna be there and something they have to. Um, Nick and Hannah go visit Nick's place, and we find out that Nick is still living with his parents. I just, I just, he's in the basement, and I'm not judging him. I just don't talk about yourself like you're the shit.
Mm.
If this is the situation, and he said he's been living there for 2 years or something. I don't know where he was before. He said he's been doing the football thing. What is this football thing he's been talking about? But
Okay,
whatever.
I was about to ask you to help me with the silence. You know, like I lived with my parents for a very long time, and I feel like culturally, I can't say if it's the same for like Nigerian, but
Hmm.
Ghanaian culture is not that unusual to live with your parents till you're older, and it's similar in a lot of cultures. But I think there's living with your parents, and then there's living with your parents. And Nick gives me the living with your parents where he does absolutely nothing for himself. That his mom probably still does his laundry, you know, that kind of vibe. And then
Yeah.
the way he keeps bringing up his whole football thing like it was a career that he had to be away for, and now he's like hung up his boots. I'm very confused because that's not the vibe I got. But the way he talks about it is like that's what he's trying to say. So I'm just as confused as you are.
Yep. But then Nick and Hannah, honestly, they're just giving me the vibe they're playing dress up.
Yes, both of them.
Like, I think we expected Nick to be a fuckboy, but I always have to reset to be like, he's not actually a fuckboy.
No,
He's
he's a
just
child.
immature. Yes, he's
Yeah.
a child, and she's just awful.
Mm-hmm.
So it just feels like, but they keep saying, "I love you." But you know, unless you look closely, Nick does seem to like her. I don't like. We know something is off, but there's nothing tangible to show that he's off.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
so weird.
I just think she's so mean to him all the time. And he makes comments about, oh, she's never nice to me, blah, blah, blah. And I know that some people's dynamics in their relationship will never be mine. Amen. But I don't understand. why he's so interested in her. And you're right, because I do actually think he likes her. But she clearly doesn't like him. And
Yes.
yeah, I'm always left confused. Another obvious mismatch.
Hmm.
Oh man.
Well, we move on to my favorite segment of the entire batch, which is Alex and Tim meeting Alex's parents. I do think that, well, at the time, I thought Alex not telling her dad that she was going to get engaged. I'm like, oh, Lord, you're setting your partner up for failure. Just give them the full skinny on everything. She's giving him directions on how to go to ask for her hand in marriage and all of that stuff. This entire meeting was so heartwarming to me. I just loved it so much. Like I saw someone commenting that Tim brought the food and Alex didn't help, and I was like, who cares? Like these are the little
Exactly.
things people are picking on that doesn't really matter. Like
That
he's the
happens
one
when people
actually
don't
meeting.
already like you.
Yeah, that he's already like meeting the parents and stuff like that. So, yeah. So the whole conversation, the way he fit in, the way her parents were so accepting. Like it's always refreshing to me when the parents are like, as long as they're happy, who cares? I just want my kid to be
Yeah.
happy. And I don't think I caught it, and I'm sure it been mentioned that her dad had MS.
Yeah,
I
she
missed that.
mentioned it, I wanna say, in the pod, but
Yeah.
it was like brief. But
Yeah.
I really like meeting her family too. There's clearly a lot of love for
Yes.
everyone. Even her parents who are divorced, they clearly like still have respect for each other. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. Her brothers, it was like, this is your
Mhm.
brother-in-law. The letter that he read to them. I'm gonna tell you this, Nana. Out of all the men this season,
Mhm.
I find him the most attractive. I don't know.
Really?
Yes, it's so weird because I know he's not conventionally
Oh, he's fine. I think he's just
okay.
fine. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think he's like unattractive at all. Like if he spoke to me on a night out, I wouldn't be like, "Oh, be gone." He just annoyed me with that whole dog thing, and I haven't been able to get over it. But I think he's fine. But honestly,
Yeah,
this season, none of them are. I would say are my type. Like what I
yeah.
would be
No,
traditionally attracted to. But
no.
I would. I don't think anyone's ugly. You know.
No, I don't think like he's ugly or anything. I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
don't know that people look at him and be like, "Oh, he fine or whatever." But I don't
yeah.
know. I like his smile and I like his whatever. And his house was nice.
Like
It was
if
very
my friend
masculine.
showed up with him, I wouldn't be like, "Girl, please." Yeah, his house was nice. I agree with
His
you.
house was
So
nice. It was masculine, but it was good. But it was great, and just the love all around. The similarities that they had. That they were born in the UK, and
hmm
all, everything was great. So 10
it
over
was
10
lovely. Also,
for
I
them.
keep looking. I know I haven't spoken about it because her personality kind of rubs me a bit the wrong way. But Alex is so pretty. She's like gorgeous.
Girl,
Very, very,
Alex
very
and
pretty.
Ashley. Alex
Yeah.
Ashley Taylor.
Yes.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous girls. And her brothers are also handsome. It's a
Yeah.
good looking family in general.
Um, Hannah and Nick had this conversation where I feel like Hannah had valid questions because
Yeah.
Nick really is a child. He's on
hmm
his parents' insurance, his parents pay his phone bill, his parents do all that. Why do you think you're ready for marriage?
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. Because this is what I mean, but there's a difference between living with your parents and living with your parents. I don't think he pays any bills, right? Like at all. He doesn't do anything. So how do you go from that to thinking you're ready to be someone's husband? And I know they mentioned like, well, he's only ever had two girlfriends, which things like that I don't really think matters that much. But I do think you have to have like experience of like how to deal with like conflict, all of that in relationships. Someone like Nick, he's someone that I think would benefit from first living by himself for a year or
Mhm.
two, and then if you were dating him and planning to marry him, I feel like he's someone you would have to live with for at least a year before you know you can do this. Because you're just going to turn into another mummy. And that's the vibe he was giving me, that he was looking for someone to mother him.
I don't, I mean, she's like, your 401k, your stocks. I think he said stocks don't help you achieve financial. I was like, oh Lord, this is not good, but I don't know. This is just he's not ready for marriage. So
Mm-mm.
anyway, Mr. Tyler meets Ashley's dad. Um, it was cute. He made all the promises, said all the things, and He's also one of those accepting parents. He's like, I just want her to be happy, whether it works, whether it doesn't. As long as she's happy, that's all I care about. And that was that.
That's
Any
my. This is my
thoughts?
least favorite part of Love Is Blind. Is
The
knowing damn well that half of these people aren't going to get married, and then you see all the promises they make to their families. To me, that's what hurts. Not even the actual contestants that not making it. I just feel, which is why I say I am with the parents who don't want to be on camera and all of this, because the chances are we know a lot of these couples don't end up getting married in all the seasons. Do you know what I mean? Or it
yeah,
doesn't work out. I just feel like it's such a painful thing to put your parents through. How some of these men, they'll look a man dead in the eye and be like, I'm going to look after your daughter, I'll be the best husband ever. And then very next episode they're not. You know what I mean? To me,
yeah,
I find that very painful because it's not a game to them. That's their child, you know?
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
I hear you. I just feel like it's either you're gonna risk it with me and go all the way, and we'll take the shame together.
Yeah, yeah, true. I think that whole thing with Tyler, because I'd already heard the rumors, I was already like, to
Yeah,
all of it. But her dad seemed really nice, Ashley's dad.
yeah. So then we move on and we hear the doom music and we see the buildings and I'm like, oh, who is this for?
I'm
And then we
laughing because I
see
sat up when I heard that music as well. I'm like, ooh, what's going on?
And then we see Monica and Taylor talking about Steven. Taylor's like, yeah, I thought it was weird when he brought up that whole thing in Mexico about women and sucking their dick and, well, wanting to suck their dick and all that. And then she's like, he's disgusting. He's evil. And then Steven walks in, takes a swig of whatever, walks out. And I'm like, wait, he's in the house?
Me
What is
too.
happening? Um,
And
Monica is
wasn't
like,
that random production person sitting there as well?
yeah, yeah, there's a
Yeah.
cameraman just sitting on the corner. And then she's like, Monica starts like, yeah, the text messages with all the fetishes. It was disgusting. And I'm still lost. And then they do this again later on with Tyler and Ashley. And I realized that I'm not a fan of this production style
Yep.
where they build it, and you still don't know what they're talking about. And you have to be like, okay, what's happening? What's going on? Like, give us a talking head, give us a confessional where they're
Yep.
laying out exactly what happened. So it was kind
They
of
did
annoying.
it previously, remember, with Alex and Tim, where we left them fine. The next day, he didn't sleep here.
Yeah,
We had a huge fight. Okay,
yeah,
either
yeah,
tell us about it or show us.
yeah. So it's not fun trying to decipher stuff. It's a reality show. I'm not doing homework. So they're speaking cryptically, and then from what we gather, he went to a sleep test the night before, and he was texting another girl, and it was a whole bunch of stuff about his kinks. Oh, I should go back. They showed us this weird conversation between
Yeah, their
Monica and
sex talk.
Steven
Yeah,
talking about sex and how the sex is great, but because he didn't get flowers, Monica doesn't want to have sex with him or something like that. And then they were talking about there are many things. Steven again is like, there are many things you can stick your dick into. He mentions mac and cheese as one of them.
yeah.
And I'm like, what is wrong with this man?
It's
She's
because I
like,
think reading between the lines, he's been asking for anal sex and she's not down with it. For me, that's what I got from that conversation.
yeah. So, anyways, I guess she would. I don't know if she's punishing him or just not wanting to have sex with him because she's not attracted to him, but is still
Yeah,
lying to herself that this is gonna be my husband. So I was wondering, I was like, why do we get this scene? This is so random, but it makes sense now because this text message was him with another woman doing all this, describing all the fetishes and all that. So where production failed is everybody's asking the question, how did Monica see these text messages?
yeah,
They never answered it. Again, you have to be chronically online to find out that what happened was Taylor and Garrett were baking cookies for everyone and was telling everyone we're going to come down and share it with you guys. And Steven went to the bathroom and his phone dinged and I don't know. I don't know if I completely believe this, but Monica is like, "Oh, it's from Garrett saying this." She's like, "Oh, babe, I'm just gonna answer and tell them okay." And then she looks at it and she's like, "Oh, should I open it? Should I?" And then the text message comes in and she's like, "Should I open it? Should I not?" And then she does, and that's how she sees like, a whole
Oh.
conversation thread of like, I'm gonna do this, we did this, or whatever, and we don't know if it's
So
an
his
ex
phone
or
was
something.
unlocked?
I guess so. Rookie.
Okay.
I mean, not like you should do anything at all,
I mean, if you're gonna
but
cheat, at least cheat well, because once I
like
find
take your
out we're
phone with
done,
you to the bathroom.
thank you.
Again, this podcast does not support cheating, but
No,
we're
like
just
me saying all of that, I mean, at least if you're doing it, do it properly because we're done regardless, you know? Don't
I mean,
half-ass it.
she got saved because she would never have known it. She was willing to ride this train, to the ground. So Taylor leaves and was like, let me know. I'll come down when, after you're done with the conversation. So he comes down, they're having a conversation, and she's saying it, and he just kept saying, you're right. And she's just like mad. You know how when you want to fight, and the person
Hmm.
is just like, you know what? I'm sorry, or you're right, like you're not wrong. And she's just like, stop saying you're right. Like, like, like this is like, why did you come here? Like, why were you doing this? And he's going on about he was texting her, like maybe he was drunk. She was like, you were drunk, and I'm like, at a sleep study, guys. I've been to
Okay,
sleep
that was
study.
my first thing because I'm just like, lie better. What do you mean you were drunk? You were
Yeah.
supposedly at a sleep study. Why would
One,
you do a sleep
I've done
study
a sleep
drunk?
study and I could not text. There were all these things that were taped to me and all that. I couldn't move. And then you shouldn't even dilly dally because they're trying to get you to sleep for a certain amount of hours, and you have to be like you're rested, not like texting and moving around and all that kind of stuff. So when Monica says, were you even actually at a sleep study? That's a valid question. Like, and he said, yes, he was. He was like, you
No,
know
he
what?
wasn't.
You're right. And this is why I'm going to leave you alone and I'm going to pack my stuff. I'm like, what? And she's like, you know what? You can pack your stuff, but you should just Venmo me all the money that I need to holding down the stuff. She's like, I would like you to bring out your phone and send it to me now. So I'm thinking, damn, Venmo is actual cash. Like, does he have the cash in there? But he does do it, and I'm so happy for him that he had the money. But I'm like, if you had the money, why didn't you just? I don't know. I don't know why I'm asking all these questions. Like,
Yeah, we
he
didn't even
talk
talk about the conversation about him currently being unemployed as well, which
because
I thought
this
was
is
nice that she didn't put pressure on him. She's like, I got you, all of that before their weird sex talk. But yeah.
Monica was willing. Like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna get married by hook or by crook. Red flags be damned. Olay,
Yeah.
I'm running into the red flag.
I'm telling you, Stephen knew he was never going to marry this woman. I'm sure
Hmm.
in his head he's like, yes, mission accomplished. I made it far enough into the show where I'm
Oh
guaranteed
my
screen
God.
time.
Do you think that's why he left his phone
I don't know if he left
unlocked?
this phone for her to find on purpose, but I think he would have found a reason for them not to get married. He'd have probably
Okay.
gone with our lifestyles are too different or whatever. Or I don't feel like I'm man. I can be the kind of man you need. It would have been a
Yeah.
nice tearful crying at the, right at the altar. But I think he had absolutely no intention of getting married when he came on the show.
What are your thoughts on the whole Venmo thing?
Yeah, get your money. I want to, because I'm kicking you out. We're done. Send me my money. Run me my money right now. And then I really don't ever have any excuse to be in contact with you. So I don't even
Gi-
blame her. And good on her for even doing it on camera. Good. Because he's
give me,
playing in her face.
give me my money.
Yes. Give me my money. What's your opinion on it? You
I
have
don't know what
something
to
different?
think. No, I think that yes, get your what you deserve, but I think like in this scenario, it's okay. It was in the same vein as the condescension that we've been talking about,
Yeah.
but
But
it's
honestly,
okay
she's allowed though.
because he was in the wrong. Yes,
Yeah.
so that's where I was just thinking about it. But
Yeah.
anyways,
I do
she
like
tells
how Taylor and Garrett were really supportive of her. It was very nice.
yeah. So Monica tells Steven that she's embarrassed and it's like he like with what he's done that's the most embarrassing thing, and he's like, yeah, I shouldn't have come on the show. He apologizes and says all that, and she's crying, but he goes and he packs up his stuff and he leaves. And then she texts Taylor as she had said earlier, and Taylor and Garrett came over and they're comforting her, and I'm just like, oh, Taylor and Garrett are so sweet.
Yeah,
Like
that
at
was
some
very,
point,
very
Garrett
nice.
leans over and gives her a kiss on her knee, and I was just like,
Hmm.
oh,
That
that
was really,
was
really nice. Yeah.
just
And
uh
sorry, I know I've talked about a lot of the bad things about the show I don't like, but I do like that a lot of them do form very strong friendships of the show, just because they also know how it is to find love the way they have. Because even now we have people who are still friends from season one, season two, etc. I think that's nice.
yeah. I mean, I'm not indifferent. Like I sometimes I compare Love Is Blind with Married at First Sight. I'm all there for the friendship, and it's nice for someone who has your experience. But sometimes, and especially lately, there seems to be a prioritization of the friendship over the actual relationship, and it kind of annoys me a little bit.
Oh, I'm
And
with
they
you on that
always,
because that's not
they,
why you're there, right?
yeah, and they always leave, and then they're like, I may not have found a husband, but I found a friend for life. We're the viewers are not here for that. So, yay,
You know
you.
what? That's fair. That is
That's
fair.
that's my only thing.
I
Um,
was just trying to see the bright side, okay?
yay, you. Okay. Hannah's brother comes over to hang out with them. Honestly, it was so fun, and I can't believe they're siblings because he's not as uptight as Hannah is. And
No.
what Hannah cooking in a leather jacket in the kitchen was really doing something to me. I just wanted to reach into the screen and take it off. Like, take off. Why are you in a leather
So
jacket
I'm glad you mentioned this, and
cooking?
I'm jumping ahead, but it was the same way with when she met Nick's parents. I'm like, why is he in a jacket in the house, letting her in? Like, you guys have to sell us this dream a little bit. Like, the cameras just happen to be there because what on earth is going on? I like all of Hannah's family apart from her. She seems to be the worst member of her own family. I liked her parents, her little brother, her other brother. Yeah, she's the problem.
uh, yeah, so her brother was fun. Her brother tells Nick how she was the first person he came out to because she doesn't care and she lives by her own rules. And eventually they're eating, and not her brother and Nick bonding over how mean she is, because Nick is telling
Hmm.
her that, sometimes she cracks jokes and she goes overboard, but when he tries to do his, all of a sudden it's a problem. And her brother was like, yeah, I feel you. That's what I go through
So
too.
then she's a bitch. Sorry to say. Because even her dad
Yeah,
says something, remember?
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. She's just going through it, I guess. But then Nick brings up something and it was like, she hasn't said anything nice about me like this whole time, but she's probably said a lot of mean things about me. And then she's like, oh, like, no. And then she says some things. I can't remember what she said. But then she says, but what do you like about me? And Nick does not skip a beat. He says, like, I like how you're your own woman. I like that you don't have to change for me. I like that you're independent and all the good stuff. And he says that, and she's like, oh, I love you, because that's all they do. Even Monica and
Mm.
Steven, even when something happens, she'll be like, I love you.
Hmm.
All right.
It's
So,
one thing to say. I was
yeah.
going to say Nick should. I don't think Nick is a bad person at all, but he's clearly got a ton of growing up to do. But Hannah, that one, I don't know. Yeah, that was kind of sad because you could tell it was really getting to him that she doesn't
Yeah.
ever speak kindly to him. So,
Yeah. Taylor and Garrett have a conversation because apparently, again, maybe I skipped it, but this was news to me that Taylor would like to move to San Diego. That's where her family is. And Garrett had said that yes, he was willing to do it, but his mom, okay, I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but his mom seems very attached to Nick. I mean, to Garrett, because she's
hmm.
the one that was crying and all that. She's like, oh, why are you going away? Like, it's so far. And I get it. But when you raise kids, I think that's part of the risk. They have to go live their lives. And he was willing on his own, but I think their reaction has an impact on him. And I like that he was being open about it and he was being truthful. Like, I'm going to do whatever I want to do regardless, but I am taking into consideration, and I'm not going to lie that it didn't play into like, oh, this is really real. Like, do I really want to move to San Diego? And then he mentions, if they have kids, that he doesn't want them to just be grandparents for the holidays. He wants them to be really involved. And I think Taylor's like, don't worry, my family's there. But I think she missed the point that it would like to be
Hmm.
both grandparents. But she does say, I want you to come over, see it, and see if it's something that you actually want to do. And then also, if it's something that's like a thing, like we can always move back. Like I work for the government, it's not a thing. So I don't know. They're adults. Like you said, they're
That's
pragmatic.
what I really like them. But I don't think it's weird at all for Garrett's mom to feel the way she does, because he's lived on that part of the world.
Fredericksburg.
I'm trying to remember where. Yeah, I can remember his whole life. And San Diego, to me, that's about as far away as you can move, unless you're going to Hawaii. That's 3 hour time difference, which makes a huge difference, and it's clear on the other side of the country, so you can't even visit regularly. You know what I mean? That's a
Yeah.
long ass flight. What, 6 hours? That's like your child living in a different country. So I do think I understand why she's upset about that, and I like that he was, willing to, like you said, take it into consideration. Yes, he's gonna live his own life, and I do think Taylor understands like what a huge thing it is, which is why I do think it's nice that they're both willing to bend for each other. If he goes to San Diego and is like desperately unhappy, I think she
Yeah.
would be willing to sacrifice for him. He'll be fine. San Diego's gorgeous, but I get it. When you've
Yeah.
lived in one place your whole life and it's on the East Coast, and now you're moving to the West Coast, 3 hours behind from all your friends, even to have quick catch up, is gonna be hard.
Yeah, I hear it. And I always put the caveat. Like I think I'm always so less emotional about this thing because most of my life I had to live far from my family. So I'm never like when I see these things on shows, and I think I've commented on it before, where I'm like, people are away from their family maybe 2 weeks, and you see them crying on TV, like, "Oh my God, I miss my family." And I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just always like, okay, and so
I
that's
do think two
probably
weeks is ridiculous. It's very funny because so much of my life I've lived away from my family, but I think I went the opposite way where I became more like I want to be more attached to them. You know what I mean? When I
yeah,
finally moved to America. So I don't know. Life is
yeah.
interesting.
So that's where I'm saying like it's a me thing. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's just like to me, it's just part of life. Like people
Hmm.
are gonna move, people are gonna be somewhere else. Like what if he got this cool job opportunity and he had to move out the country? Like I don't know, you can't cry to keep him there, and he's just like you're gonna say don't get the job opportunity. I think it's the same way. Like he just found a life partner that he kind of likes, and he's willing to try something else. Like now that he can do it while he's young, like mm, that's it.
Yeah.
So okay. Ramses meets Marissa's mom.
Oh God. Oh.
I don't even know what to say about this. It was a lot. Marissa's mom came in hot. Marissa's mom came in and gave me the impression of the mom who wants to be cool. Came in with her tongue ring and her I don't believe marriage is forever, like projecting all this stuff. And maybe that's why Marissa's going the opposite. Like, I believe in forever because, of course, she had to have heard this her whole life. And then all her siblings are there. And the first thing they tell us is that
They all
they
have
all
different
have
dads.
different dads and they could make up a volleyball team. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's why you don't believe in forever, but that was something. Marissa's mom just lays it on him, like, oh, what is this? What is that? In some ways, she was right. Like it's the grilling that a parent would do. And Ramses was like, I was married before, and when you get married and things go, and her mom is like, you're telling me about marriage? And he was like, okay, well, and that, we just went our separate ways, and I just felt like it's one of those things, like, if you don't want to be happy, so I just felt like it would be better to let her go. And she was like, was it mutual? He goes, yes. She was like, okay, don't make yourself sound like a saint. It was mutual. She's not wrong.
I will say, but though Ramses has never, well, on camera, he's never spoken badly of his ex-wife at all, which I actually also appreciate. He's never made it seem like she did anything wrong. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's always been
yeah,
like we got married too young, which 25, Marissa's mom doesn't think is too young, and it didn't
I
work
think it's
out. And I
young.
feel like he's, for their generation, I don't think he's young at all, to tell the truth. I think it's only more recently that people are getting married later.
Yeah, because the world has changed. And at
Yeah,
25, like honestly, it's not what 25 was back in the day. No, honestly,
yeah.
even back in the day, it was young, but it was just the norm. But they had no
Uh,
business. No, honestly, I don't think people getting married at that time, they were equipped. That's why there were a lot of unhappy people, but also the thing was you stick it out and you figure
yeah,
it out. But I still think they were young because they don't know what they want. They don't have their dreams. You're just being a housewife, so you just stick it out. But I understand what you're saying. Like based on their generation, it's not young. But I think if we look back on it and consider all the things, it was young. It's just everybody did it. So I don't know.
yeah. So,
Um,
okay, please continue.
um, but I do think meeting someone for the first time and telling them that their fashioning is off and you're not feeling it and you're Jerry curl, which is just a product of how he was born. He didn't actually go get a Jerry curl. That was rude.
I hate everything about this woman from top to toe. Sorry. I was just waiting for an opportunity to get my hate off. I think she is neck and neck. No, she's probably worse than Bobby's mother from Love Island, Love is Blind UK. Or not Bobby, Marissa's mom, sorry. This woman is awful. How can, first of all, why are you giving him
You mean
unsolicited?
Jasmine, right?
Yes, yes, Jasmine's mother. How can you give him unsolicited opinions about how he looks? Is this what we're doing? Because does he have the right to also critique your outfit?
Yeah.
You've just met this man for the first. I think I'm a bit sensitive because I really don't like unsolicited opinions on people's
Mhm.
looks or outfits. If you ask me, that's a different story. Or, but you just met this man. Why are you that's the first thing that comes out of your mouth. And
Yeah.
then I hate the way she talked to Marissa and about Marissa. I was just like, bro, this woman is awful. Like, I'm actually even shocked. Marissa seems more well adjusted than I'd expect her to be. From
Yeah.
how are you calling your daughter a bitch? Like, please be
Ah.
serious. Especially to like someone she's hoping to marry. And then you're also spilling all your relationship failures, trying to infect your children with them on purpose. Like, yeah, this ain't forever. All your disappointments, yeah, 20 years, you can consider that a success. Okay, that's for you. But why would you want your children to have that same attitude? I can understand being disappointed by life and jaded, but do you also want your children to be jaded? And that's what she's actively wanting Marissa to feel the same way she does about love. And I think it's disgusting. I think she's awful. I didn't see a single redeeming factor. Sorry, but I didn't.
And that's all Nana said.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, yeah, she was a lot. She was a lot. I mean, there were some valid questions, but it was coming from a place of projection, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not healthy. And you could tell that that is not a healthy dynamic. And I say this all the time, like emotional abuse, that's a strong word, but I mean like emotional abuse from family, I'm not saying her specifically, is able to go under the radar because you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's my family, oh, they love me, they do things.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a clear, because she's like, I'm going to protect her, I'm going to be on their side. But if your actions are not respectful and
Yep.
they're not kind, then that's not okay.
Yep.
And it's just evident, we've seen how many parents and saw how they reacted, and this was
It's
just a
just
lot.
really horrible. And I feel
Yeah.
like she gets the vibe that she doesn't like her daughter. Like, why would you talk about her like this? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know how they would say our parents, they didn't know much about therapy then, and they would benefit. This is a woman that I'm like, she would benefit from therapy because clearly she needs it because there's a lot of like, she's projecting a lot, like you said. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I did not like any of that at all. And also, maybe I'm also being, I don't know. Also didn't like how she was trying to imply that Ramses was a gold digger. I'm like, Marissa's only training to be a lawyer. She's not like a Fortune 500 CEO. Yes, lawyers make good money, but not enough that I would ever think someone was being a gold digger because she's going to be a lawyer in the future. Like, who does she think she is? Am I being like unrealistic?
I can understand that. I'm okay with that. And I mean, he didn't have a problem with it because I don't necessarily think you have to have a lot of money, but like things like, say you get married and you buy a house. or whatever,
Mm.
even if it's in your name or whatever, as long as you're married, if something happens, he has a right to it.
That's not what I mean though. But she was talking like he was dating her for her future earning potential.
No, I know, but
Yeah,
the thing is, people get prenups not for the now, for the I
for the
I
future.
understand what you're saying. It's because of her demeanor. But if she
Yes.
came as a sensible person
Thank
and
you.
mentioned the whole thing, I don't think like every time
Oh, this
people
the
get
prenup is not my issue. I don't think there's anything wrong with even wanting your child to be protected. But she was talking like he was all in because she's going to be a lawyer. And I
I
was
didn't
like,
get that
bro.
sense. I just got the
Mm-hmm.
sense like if she does, I don't
Mm-hmm.
want you I don't want her to be taken advantage of. I thought
Yeah.
it was the regular prenup. I mean, I see what you mean, but I didn't think that she felt like that was all
Yeah.
he was there for. But I like that he was like, I don't care. I'm not here for the money. Like I can say because Ramsey's also with his self-righteous self seems to be like, oh, don't have too much money. You're the devil if
Yeah.
you do. I want to be
Billionaires should not
minimalistic.
exist.
Let's just drive a hybrid and all that stuff. So I don't
Can
think
I say
his
this is an aside? How do you, because it's come up a couple of times, how do you feel about people's reactions when people say they either didn't go to college or they dropped out of college? I haven't articulated my thoughts 100% in my
wait, what
head
do you
about
mean?
this. Just like sometimes I feel like the vibe changes in conversations when people either say that didn't go to college or like Ramsey said he dropped out. Even like with Stephen, it's just a question. Like, do you think people really like judge that hard on people who didn't go to college or dropped out of college?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so, but I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like maybe I was one of those people. Like I feel like it determines certain things up until like a
Mhm.
couple of years ago. In this world that we living now, it's not necessary
Mm.
anymore. So when people say, "Oh, they dropped out or they didn't go to college," I don't think it's a determinant of anything
Yeah.
because you don't know what their background is. There's so many other ways. Right now, I don't even know if it benefits you to go to college. You're just gonna be
Yeah.
stuck with student loans that you can't even pay back.
Uh huh.
So, but I'm not gonna lie and say that many years ago, if you had asked me if someone says, "Oh, they're gonna," I'll be like, "Oh,
No, no,
okay,
no. And I get this is like I'm not judging. It's honestly just like I just think it was interesting, right, to see how
yeah,
people react to things like that. Yeah. So yeah,
yeah."
I'm with you because I think I had some of those thoughts too, like back in the past. But obviously, we know. Also, I met a lot of really dumb people in college. I can't lie. I just feel like you said, you do. I think someone having a college degree or higher, you think yes, it will help your earning potential in the future. But exactly like you said, that's not even guaranteed these days. And a lot of
Yeah.
people clearly don't go to college to learn. They just go to get their degree and bounce. Because,
Yeah.
bro, okay,
Yeah,
sorry,
it gives you
I
a
was
leg
just
up,
wondering.
but yeah.
Yeah.
To wrap things up, I think I was confused about the whole prenup thing. She's going to law school, but then the mom also mentions that when they have kids, she wants to be a stay-at-home mom. I don't want to have to fly down there to take care of your kids because she has to work. I'm like, okay, but
Tells
that's
you
that.
everything about their dynamic. This one say this woman is not nice.
Like, unpack, lady, unpack.
Hmm.
We've mentioned a little bit of this. Nick meets Hannah's parents. They're lovely. They're nice. The thing that makes me laugh is Nick is trying to bond with the brother because he likes football. He's like, "What position?" He's like, "Is it a kicker?" And Hannah's brother gives this look like, "Huh? That's the lowest of the totem pole. Like, why would you say that?" And then Nick is like, "Oh, I play kicker, so that's why." And there's an uncomfortable laugh. That made me laugh so hard. Um, as an aside, the restaurant they went to, I've been there before. Tupelo
Uh-huh.
Honey, many years ago before the pandemic. So,
I've been to
um,
Tupelo, honey.
yes,
I didn't
that's
realize
where.
that's what it was called. There's one in Frisco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not that one, but yeah, I've been to one here in Dallas. Huh,
Yeah.
interesting. Their food was decent. Wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Sorry, I should have said this when we talked about Ramses and Marissa. They have this very long conversation about sex and birth control, and Ramses reveals himself. Those people, not those people, those men. that like to be like, oh, I'm a feminist, I'm a this, but
Mm.
then things come up and then you realize because he's like, I want to have kids, not now, not this, whatever. And she's like, well, then we need to get serious about birth control. Then he's like, oh, I don't want you to get anything if it's going to affect your body. And then she's like, well, I'm okay with condom. And then he's like, oh, do you enjoy condom sex? She's like, yeah, some of the best sex I've had has been with a condom. And then he's like, huh. Then he's like, well, I don't really. Basically, this man wants to have raw sex, but he's also trying to be like, I don't want to hurt your body. And then she's like, well, I'm just going to give you an ultimatum. And also, we find out that these people are just having sex raw, but they're not ready for kids.
Sorry, these are all the same notes I made. Remember last episode when I said there's something that was making me like still a bit cynical with both Ramses and Tyler, whereas like I feel like they know the right language to use because they
Mm-hmm.
know what it's like to be like, oh, I'm a feminist, I support women. They It's like tick 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 on all the right phrases, all the right things to say, but people always reveal themselves, right? And this
Mm-hmm.
was it for me. I was livid because I'm just like, so I first of all, I don't think it's wise to be having unprotected sex immediately. You don't even know if you're going to
You
marry
don't
this man.
know
You don't
this
know him
person.
from Adam. And honestly, do you trust Netflix to have made sure they're even like clean, gotten all their panels back, all of that? I wouldn't trust them because
Can I
clearly
tell
there's
you
mm-hmm.
that the production company that does maps does Love is Blind, and
Is it
we had a,
kinetic?
yes, and we had a cast member from Married at First Sight who said they do not test.
Oh my gosh.
And our
Okay.
jaws was on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, and then
So
also
they've been using no condoms since Mexico. Oh my
we've had
god.
a season where one of the people literally got pregnant within 3 months of them
Mm-hmm.
meeting because they filmed her telling him like, "Yo, I'm pregnant."
Like,
So,
why would you be having unprotected sex with a complete stranger? Like, regularly. And he is a complete stranger. I don't care. Like, at this moment, he is. And it's the same conundrum. You don't want to use condoms, but you don't want to have children yet. Like, how does that make sense to you? He needs to make me understand. I don't get
and
it.
he was really fighting for it, like trying to
Yeah.
choose his words, trying to be all thing. And
Because
it's
he's
so
still trying
funny.
to be so feminist.
It's so funny that their situation is the complete opposite of the couple last season who didn't
Yes.
even want to have sex because they're like, yeah, we need to figure something out.
Oh my god. I don't understand why these aren't things you discuss. The same way I'm shocked that Tyler and what's the name? Ashley didn't even talk about sex at all in the pods. I'm like, what do you people be talking about for hours? Anyway, they'll be sitting there twirling their hair together and talking about flowers and not things that really matter like this. But I think it's crazy. And I also do think it was kind of strange that he says, yeah, he wants children, but he wants like 2, 3 to 4 years before they start trying. She's 32. And I know nowadays people have children old or whatever, but I could kind of see it in her face where she was like, I'm 32, trying to like get him to get the hint because it's different if you're partnered and you know you want children that you could tell she wants to start trying sooner, right? Because they always say the chances. She's like, I don't want to be 37 and trying to get pregnant. And there were some things I'm like, I kind of get that. Why doesn't he seem to understand that? I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I'm not strongly on that because for me, because they didn't get a chance to date, I can
Hmm.
understand wanting to actually get a solid ground first,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
getting into
No, but
your
he's
groove.
talking like 3, 4 years, Tane.
Oh, okay. I thought it was 2 to 3.
No,
Okay.
she was trying to bring him down to 2.
Oh,
And
yeah,
she said, can
well,
we do 2? A year and a half? But he initially was saying like three,
but
four
again,
years.
all these things are hypothetical and too early.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
know each other. You don't know your day-to-day lifestyle.
Hmm.
You don't know anything yet. So,
I mean, with these two, she could be pregnant right now, for all we know, since they haven't been using protection. So, oh
I
man.
just quickly want to mention that Marissa, sorry, I just want to mention that Ramses met Marissa's friends,
Hmm.
and they were all in the military, and they had the whole military conversation, and they were like, if she went back to the military, would you divorce her? And he stumbled, but I think he said yes, and that's when he said the whole your politics is who you are. But she's like, oh, but that's why I like him. Like we talk about everything. We're very open. We're very this. But her friends are like, girl, run. They didn't say it
Yeah.
out loud, but their
Do you think
faces
they're gonna get
just.
married? I feel like they won't. I don't
I
know. I'd
think
be
that
surprised.
he's going to say no.
Mm,
I think she's gonna say yes, and he's going to say no. He's like, I just feel
no.
like
Poor
our
Marissa.
lifestyles are too different or something.
Poor woman.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap up with Tyler and Ashley.
Sorry to interrupt. Before you meant we go to Thailand, Ashley, can we talk about why didn't Alex bother to try and clean up before
Oh
Tim
yes.
went to her place? Because I was like, okay, yeah, it's gonna be messy. This was not messy. Like, what was going on there? What was that?
Um. Okay. So it wasn't dirt. It was messy.
Yeah,
And she said she was trying on clothes, throwing it out. Oh my God, what am I gonna wear? And she just didn't pick it up. But yes, I agree with you. Like even if that's not your daily, if you know cameras are gonna come,
yeah.
just try and shove it all into a closet.
There
I'll
was
say.
literally no floor space. There were clothes everywhere.
Yeah,
It
that's
looked
way
way
too
too.
many clothes.
Yeah, I was just baffled by all of that, and you could see it on his face as well. But anyway, sorry, I just had to mention it.
No. I'm glad you mentioned
Hmm.
it because we had to mention it. Wrap so we're gonna wrap up with Tyler and Ashley. Like we mentioned earlier, we hate the production style of them building it up while we try to figure out what the hell is going on. Because Tyler and Ashley are sitting on the couch, they're staring at each other. She's looking sad. He's not saying a word actually. So she's just talking about you had all the opportunity and all the time in the world to mention this to me. You didn't say this. They really took their time before she mentioned like there you have children. She even said how many. He said three. She said what are the genders. He what was it, two girls, one,
Two,
whatever it
no, two
was,
boys and a girl.
and a girl, whatever
No,
it
two girls and a
was
boy. Sorry.
what they had discussed. So you could literally see the hurt in her face.
Mm.
And again, for those of you who don't know, Tyler has three children. The story is that he was being a good friend and donating his sperm to his friend who identifies as a lesbian. But then we're unclear if she's his ex or not,
That's
right?
what I mean. Like he was still lying. He said he was a sperm donor. You slept with this woman. It wasn't
What
done with like a turkey baster.
I know, I'm
Like,
building it up. That's what I'm
no,
saying. Like
no,
I'm just
yeah, no. I don't know. Like with the whole ex thing, because it seems like yes, he was like helping them out, but one of them said he
yeah,
ended
yeah,
up
yeah.
like sleeping with the other, like behind the
But
other's back.
but I think what I'm trying to clarify is okay, we don't know if it was, and because I read in some places that she was his ex, and I read in
Oh,
some
okay.
places that they were just friends. So I
I've
don't know
only
what
ever
you
heard the
saw.
whole friends aspect to begin with.
Okay.
But yeah,
So
sorry about
okay,
that.
so at the time that they got pregnant for the first kid, this friend, let's just go with friend, was married to her wife. They'd been trying to turkey baster, it didn't work, and then they said they were going to do it naturally, and then he got pregnant. Now the kicker is apparently Tyler was engaged to some newscaster over here. Now where it gets diabolical is that Tyler took this fiance to the baby shower of this child, and she had no idea that
Hmm.
the sperm donor was Tyler. Now my friend tried to counter and was like, well, the agreement is that no one was ever going to know. And I was like, but not to his fiance,
Yeah.
especially if you were going to be involved. Well, apparently he was not going to be involved. We don't know who's lying or who's not. But the thing is, like, the ex-wife also didn't know that they slept together.
Yeah.
She just turned up pregnant. And it's just also messy. But the thing is
I
that he's
think it's a
saying that,
lie saying that he wasn't going to be involved. Because then why do you have matching pajama pictures with these children? Do you know what I mean? It's all bullshit. He's a liar.
well, if they did, wouldn't they have signed papers and something? And he was there when they were born. And I think, is he on the birth certificate? I can't remember.
Yeah, and apparently he now owes child support.
Yeah, because when they were going through a child custody thing,
Mm-hmm.
He kind of made claim, but he could have been doing it. Again, my friend and I were talking about this, and she was just countering, and she was like, "We don't know details. He could have been doing it just for his friend, because what we know now is that the ex-wife had to give up all rights because it was
Yeah.
just too much hassle. So we don't know the entire backstory. Because at first I was just like, let's just allegedly, like, he was helping a friend or he was doing whatever. I think the whole kicker is just you did not tell Ashley any of this until 2 weeks before the
Nothing.
wedding. And then you said you were alone on Christmas and we're seeing the pajamas. Your mom has a picture saying,
Yep.
my lovely grandson. That is not an uninvolved child.
He's
So,
a
I meant uninvolved
liar.
parents. So you're saying all these things, and then the baby moms is also saying that, he's involved. What he told her was that he was going to do the show to make life better for them, which is the
Uh-huh.
exact same thing that happened last year with that
Always.
guy, his girlfriend. And I'm like, but also with all these lawsuits and everything, a simple Google search, couldn't the producers have found that?
Thank you. I'm just like, what's Netflix doing or connected? Like, what are they doing? How do you let a man like this get on the show if everyone else could find out this information very quickly? Because this news came out and people just kept adding more and more and more and more. Like, what are you playing at? My thing about Tyler, I don't believe a word he's saying. He's a complete liar. And I'm like, you look this woman dead in the eye, was making all these lovey-dovey plans about how many children you wanted, looked her father dead in the eye, and you know you're a liar. You like people like that scare the living daylights out of me. I'm sorry. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Was not uncomfortable in the least. Mister, we're getting married. We're getting married. I'm so happy. You're a fucking liar. That's what you are. Yeah.
Yeah, as much as I would love the love story for them, I just, at the end of the day, no matter what the truth is, you didn't come out and tell her that you had children. Also, he deleted all the pictures before coming on the
Yeah.
show. So,
He's an active father, bro, or was. Like, this was no sperm donor donation, which is why I don't like she kept calling it a sperm donor. So,
well, that's what he told her. So,
yeah.
she doesn't know.
Also,
But
go ahead.
you remember last episode, I said that I hoped that Tyler was not acting out of a trauma response
Yeah,
where he's trying to have something that he didn't have,
growing
which
up,
to
yeah.
me, like this family, like a unit and a thing, could be him doing that. I don't know. It's just
It
sad.
could
I
be,
feel
but
so
I don't
sad
feel
for
sorry for
Ashley.
him. As thank you.
No, I feel sad for Ashley. I'm not talking about him. I just feel sad for
Yeah.
Ashley because she's clearly in love with this man. She clearly thought she found a unicorn, and the way she hugged him afterwards, he said, I'm not asking for forgiveness, I'm just asking for a chance. And as badly as I'm like, maybe he'll turn out okay, I'm just like, no.
No. And
Anyone
I also
capable of,
think she's going to give him a chance, Tane. I really do. I did not get the vibe that she was done with him at all. It makes me sick.
well, because again, she's not operating under the knowledge of what we know.
Yeah. But even if I
Right,
didn't know that, to me, I think that's a should be a stone cold reason not to marry somebody. That's a big lie.
it is, but we've all like ignored certain big red flags,
Yeah.
especially when you have feelings for the person.
I get it, but I feel like I'm less understanding in this situation because this is someone you've known 3 weeks, 2 weeks. And yes, you're in love, and I know it's all accelerated the process, but there's no sunk cost fallacy here. Do you know what I mean? You haven't invested that much time into it. You
Not
could
to
literally
them,
leave.
not to
Yeah,
them. They
yeah,
feel like,
I can't be sympathetic in that way. I'm like, girl, you better run. So yeah, I don't know. It's
yeah,
not you're
I don't know.
32. It's not the end of the world. It sucks and it's painful, but you will get over it. But I just got the feeling that she's not. But I hope I'm proven wrong.
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, we know they're filming the reunion, and the reunion is going to be October 30th, I
Okay.
believe they've given us. So
Have you seen
we'll
any
see.
information about it, or like, do you
I
know who gets
avoid,
married? None of that.
no, oh, I don't check all those. I avoid
Me,
all
I don't.
spoilers.
So. I
So I
don't
have
mind a
no,
spoiler now and then, but I have no idea who ends up getting married. But I don't have high hopes for this group, unfortunately. Who
no,
do you think ends up married? I'm trying to think through
no
them.
one at this point because next Because next episode, Taylor's saying that's a red flag. I don't want to go through your phone. And he's like, I'm not lying. So at this point, who else is left? Nobody
I feel like
else.
that's a red herring. I think they get married.
I hope
Who
so.
else? Ramses and Marissa, I would have said they get married until that last conversation. So now I'm not so sure. And unfortunately, Ashley and Tyler, maybe they don't get married, but I think she may do the whole thing that she wants to continue being in a relationship but not get married. But I don't think they're breaking up, unfortunately. Who else? Yeah, no one else. Clearly, Monica and Steven are done. Hannah and Nick, for everyone's sake, hope that they get married. I'll be shocked if they do. Who else? Is that it?
Yeah,
Oh, Alex and Tim.
Alex
Ooh,
and Tim.
Alex and Tim. Do you think they get married?
It
I
depends
don't
on if
know.
something else happens.
Yeah, that's fair.
If something else happens, yeah, in the previews, they were like, it depends how we go through it and all that. But if it happens again, I think Tim is going to be like, okay, I can't keep doing this because that man
Yeah.
has been very insistent. I don't want drama in my life.
And she's brought
So,
plenty of it, unfortunately.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that was it for this batch. The weddings are next. Looking forward to putting ourselves out our misery and seeing who says yes and who says no. Even though I feel like they might split that into two. I don't know if we're
Oh
gonna get all the
gosh.
weddings. I'm not sure. But then they're down to four couples, so who knows what that's gonna happen. But are you watching or do you plan to watch Love is Blind Habibi?
Yes, actually, I think it's gonna be hilarious. I can't wait. But I'm gonna save it. I don't think I'm gonna watch it like anytime soon. Also, why would they put it out now when there's another season going on? They know people watch other countries. Come on.
I don't know. Love is Blind UK and Mexico are on at the same time. So
Yeah,
to me it's just normal.
I just think it's so silly. But yeah. Are
Okay,
you
well,
planning on watching it?
I'm sorry, what? Is that a
Are you
question?
planning on watching it? Oh.
It's
So
like
look at
what?
me sincerely repeating my question because I thought you didn't understand me. But yeah, no, I'm gonna watch it, but I don't think anytime soon. This season hasn't really given me the ginger to continue, but I know I will. Probably one weekend where I'm just like chilling at home.
But
Yeah.
I'm generally perplexed when people ask me. I think somebody asked me, "Oh, have you watched Love is Blind?" And I'm like, "What? Like, is that a real question? If it's a reality show, I'm in it." But thank you, Nana, for stopping by
You're
again.
welcome. Thank you for having me again.
It was such a
It's been
pleasure. And
interesting. I don't feel the love from these people, but I feel it from you, Shay.
you guys, you heard her. But yeah, it's been like, I don't know if I should apologize or not for the long episodes, but I know that we did get a comment from the Tip Top who was like, she enjoys the long episodes and it makes her workday go faster. So someone at least appreciates it, but it's just a lot of episodes to talk about and it's so fun. So bear with us or yay if you like it, but it's gonna be longer than the usual because of that. But thank you guys for tuning in, and until the next batch, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at AltarCall, MAFSALTARCALLMAFS. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify if you're so inclined. And till next week, guys. Bye, guys.
Bye.